Welcome, Freedom Warriors, to the Freedom Express Media Show. Looks like we finally have a speaker. So we're going to get right into it. One second.
Johnson. Winstrup. Johnson. Westerman. Johnson. Wexton. Jeffries. Wild. Jeffries. Williams of Georgia. Jeffries. Williams of New York. Johnson. Williams of Texas.
Yes, we have a new speaker.
Johnson. Wilson of Florida. Wilson of Florida.
Hi, Boxer Heather. Hi, Chad.
Jeffries. Wilson of South Carolina.
You need a 217.
Johnson.
Johnson, there it is.
Whitman. Johnson. Womack.
So I'm still having some technical difficulties with my camera, but we're going to go through this anyway. So just so you guys know, just a few little things about Mike Johnson. He voted no on certifying the 2020 election. He voted no on same-sex marriage. He voted no on Ukraine aid. He voted yes on Fiscal Responsibility Act, and he voted no on the 47-day funding bill. And I honestly agree with all of that. So I think that we do have somebody in there that is going to do what we the people want, what we the people need for our country and for us to be able to continue. So with that, let's get into the rest of the show. We do have a speaker, Mike Johnson. Now we can get to work. Let's get going, Patriots. All right, so I'm sorry about my camera. I don't know what the deal is. It's working, but it's not working on my StreamYard for some strange reason. But let's look at some of the things that we need to be getting fixed with our country. And I'll show you. This right here is very concerning to me. You guys just tell me what you think.
And Ukraine, more than the United States can take on at the same time.
We're the United States of America, for God's sake. The most powerful nation in the history, not in the world, in the history of the world. The history of the world. We can take care of both of these and still maintain our overall international defense. We have the capacity to do this, and we have an obligation to. We are the essential nation, as to paraphrase the former Secretary of State. And if we don't, who does?
So we still have the capacity to cover our international defense, but what about our domestic defense? What about our borders here in our country? What are we going to do about that? We can't even take care of that. How can we do anything else if we can't even control what's going on with our own country, our own borders, our own things? And he's like, to paraphrase the National Secretary of State or whatever, but he can't even speak for himself. What are we doing?
New and interesting and ominous is that very few Republicans, the opposition party, are pushing back. Instead, some of the party's leaders are encouraging it. Here, for example, is Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina from last weekend on NBC.
You said this week that the only way to keep the war from escalating is to hold Iran accountable, part of what you're talking about now, and that it might mean bombing their oil refineries. Have you had any discussions with the Biden administration about this?
A bit. Here's my message. If Hezbollah, which is a proxy of Iran, launches a massive attack on Israel, I will consider that a threat to the state of Israel, existential in nature. I will introduce a resolution in the United States Senate to allow military action by the United States in conjunction with Israel to knock Iran out of the oil business. Iran, if you escalate this war, we're coming for you.
Who is Lindsey Graham? Why does he think that he gets to tell Iran what we're going to do, what we're not going to do? This guy is very dangerous with his words, what he's talking about. He's not helping our country in any way. He's making us look very, very. I just worry about Lindsey Graham and his words. But listen to him.
Are you effectively poised to declare war on Iran? That's very strong language.
I am poised to use military force to destroy the source of funding for Hamas and Hezbollah.
No, that's Lindsey Graham. A few others in the Republican Party will be that open about their intentions, but very few disagree with him. Certainly not in private. They agree. So what would war with Iran mean? Well, it's hard to know because virtually no one who's talking about it in public is operating from a deep interest in America's interest. Is this good for us or is it not? Former Colonel Douglas Macgregor is the CEO of Our Country, Our Choice, and one of the first people we turn to for analysis of events like this because he is interested in what happens to the United States. He joins us now. Doug, thank you for coming on. Do you think that we are moving toward war with Iran?
Yes, I do. And it looks like the chosen destination is indeed Armageddon. There doesn't seem to be any real appreciation for the implications for us and frankly, for Europe and the world, as well as the Middle East, of such action. You know, take for an example, just on the economic side, about 20% of the world's oil passes through the Straits of Hormuz every month. Probably 25% of liquefied natural gas. And you're talking about shutting down 2 to 3 million barrels a day of oil from Iran. This entire region is involved in the war. This is not an Iranian monopoly by any stretch of the imagination. But the point is that when we're looking at 10-year Treasury yields up over 5%, and people are increasingly convinced that the Fed has lost control, the economic side of the house is a catastrophe. Then when you look at the military side, you have to look at the arsenal of missiles that Iran possesses. And they can reach out 1,200 miles with great precision, very high explosive conventional warheads that would do enormous damage, destroying whole city blocks in places like Haifa, Tel Aviv, even Jerusalem, though I doubt they would attack Jerusalem. The bottom line is that we need to think this through, and everyone right now is emoting. There is no thinking anywhere, as far as I can tell. The only possible exception may be, amazingly enough, Mr. Erdogan in Turkey, who came out this morning and indicated he was willing to mediate the dispute between Israel and Hamas. Whether or not anyone in Washington or Israel is interested in talking, I don't know. But if we could sideline Turkey and keep Turkey out of the fight, that would ultimately help Israel enormously.
So what would happen to the United States if we followed Senator Graham's advice and just began bombing critical infrastructure in Iran? Like what would happen then?
Well, all of the bases that we have in Iraq and Syria, unfortunately, where we still have over 1,000 Americans, all of those would be targeted. And this time, they would target them accurately, and this destruction would be wholesale. I would expect trouble here at home.
Yeah, so very interesting. I don't know what our leaders are thinking, why they're thinking that, we can just threaten Iran. If they think Iran's not going to do anything, they've already, here, let me just go on to this next one here. Let's show just a couple more videos and then I'll go into it.
What would happen?
Hold up. No, that's not it.
Jews would be killed. If Hamas laid down all of their weapons, what would we have?
There would be no more Palestine.
Peace is what we would have.
No, that's...
We would have peace.
Excuse my language, that's bullshit.
Okay, so let me ask you, why did Israel give Gaza back to the Arab Muslims? For peace. Why did they give the Sinai to Egypt for peace? I think this last weekend displayed the holes in your argument. When Jews go for their high holy day, Arabs come in and kill Jews. When Arabs want to have peace, the Jews will come to the table for a peace agreement. Abraham Accords, the Oslo Accords. Any time that the Arabs want to talk, the Jews will come to the table to talk in the pursuit of peace. And answer me this. If this was an isolated incident, why were they greeted as heroes by the people of Gaza after they killed 900 women and children?
You gotta wonder. Yeah, I mean, and why is it that we have people in our Congress that are, cheering them on, the Gaza, the Hamas, and all that stuff? Why are they cheering them on? Why is it that, why isn't Lindsey Graham going for peace instead of threatening Iran and wanting to cut the head of the snake off? Which I get it. I mean, I get it. If Iran is the one that is perpetrating the terrorist attacks, then, and we have evidence of that, and we're funding it. I mean, how can we fund it? And we're funding it. Hold on. I'm just going to go ahead and play this next one because I think it may help.
People that are missing. That many people were taken out of their house and were thrown into the backs of trucks and hauled across into the Palestinian area. This act of terror was funded by the United States of America. Within the past few months, our nation gave Iran $6 billion. If we had any other leadership in America besides the leadership we have, that would not have happened. The sobering reality of this is our borders are down. And if you don't think that something like this can happen with us, when we as a nation are funding it to happen in Israel, you are not alive to current events. There's more than 1,000.
Yeah, so it doesn't make sense because, regardless how the Congress wants to put it out, the money we sent there, they used that, they reallocated the money, is my opinion. And we are basically, just as much at fault for a lot of what happened there. And then we're going to sit here and encourage and fund the opposite side to go after them. So it's like and I think this has happened in our history a lot of times where we have secretly funded ISIS. We have secretly created all this with Obama and all this nonsense. And then we want to have a big war over it. It's like our government, in my opinion, starts the war and then wants to finish the war and keep the war going. And it's all about the money. It's all about keeping that money flowing. It's just it's really sickening. And where's our leadership? What are we leading here? Who is leading this? There's one person that I see in our country, a governor, a woman governor, who is actually taking leadership and taking her role and using it the way that she should be, and that person is Sarah Huckabee.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us. It's great to stand up here with some of the most influential and amazing women from across our state. We are all here to say, frankly, that we've had enough trying to erase women and girls, enough denying our biological differences from men, and enough of the craziness that is taking over our country. I've had the honor of being both the first woman and the first mother to serve as the governor of Arkansas. Before that, I was the first mother and only the third woman to serve as the White House press secretary. Because of that, I came into this role with a few pretty unique experiences. Among them is giving birth to 3 amazing kids. That experience underscored to me that a woman's perspective is important and fundamentally different from a man's. Nowadays, though, only conservatives seem to be making that point. On the left, women have taken a back seat to political correctness. It's why Senator Irving and Representative Barker had to pass the Fairness in Women's Sports Act to defend our girls across the state. They're using nonsense words to erase women and girls, and more importantly, to erase our voices and our experiences. Today, we're taking a stand against woke nonsense. but frankly started as a fad among a few grad students, has seeped down into corporations, the healthcare industry, and increasingly state government. It's demeaning to women, and it needs to stop. In a moment, I'll sign an executive order banning a number of all sorts of ridiculous words from state government documents. Those include words like pregnant people, laboring person, birth giver, and several other nonsense terms that have cropped up in recent years. Some on the left will accuse us of being nitpicky, that Arkansas should just lay down and accept the cultural revolution without complaint. I say it's the exact opposite. It's the left that decided that woman is a dirty word. It's the left that decided we needed to toss out basic biology and basic grammar along with it. I think they're just mad that conservatives are starting to fight back. And they better get ready, because we're just getting started. Thank you for being here, and thank you to the amazing women that are standing up here with me. I'll sign this executive order. We'll hear a few words from Dr. Chandler, and I'll be happy to take a few questions. Thank you.
Yeah, so she's standing up against the woke nonsense. She got rid of the CCP out of her state, right? She said, "You guys are out of here. We're not putting up with it." We need every state to do that. Every governor should be knocking the CCP out of their state, not allowing them to be a part and buy land all up in their state. All that nonsense. It's ridiculous. And it has to stop. And we need people like her to stand up and do exactly what she is doing. We need that. We have to have that. Here's another woman that has me very confused. I've been all for her at times. I've been not for her at times. But this, I believe, was just yesterday, and her talking about, if this is the right one, who she likes as far as Speaker of the House. Now she was laughing and all, but she clearly said, "No, I don't like anyone." So, times I like her, times I don't. If she's into the whole FTX, accepting money from all that stuff and all that part of that, then I think that maybe we should just stay away from her. I don't know. I don't know if all that stuff's real, if that's true. I don't know that, so I can't say. But at times she seems to be standing for the people, and at other times I just can't tell with her. She has brought attention to the January 6 defendants, but that's it. She just brought attention to it. She hasn't went into the courtroom. She hasn't done any. None of the congressmen have went into the courtrooms to watch what these judges are doing. And I think that needs to start. I think that somebody, they have oversight over these federal judges. And if they're not acting in a constitutional way, then they have the right to impeach these judges. But they're continuing to allow them to continue to do what they're doing, even though they believe that a bunch of cops were killed on January 6th. These judges don't even understand what in the world even happened that day. They seen some news and they believed it from the start, and they're judging these. So with that, we have the release of the 911 call from Obama's chef's death. It's very, very suspicious. Just something I wanted to share with you guys. Take a listen.
23, 19, 46, 25.
911, the sign's recorded. Where is your emergency?
We have a male drowning in the back of the property right now. We have our rescue swimmers. They're attempting to go out there right now.
What's your phone number that you called in on?
So
What's the
bleeping
best
his phone call.
Swimmer and an agent driving down there right now to get on the boat. Someone came running up to our back post saying that a gentleman drowning. So right now, a rescue swimmer's going out there.
And you said you guys have boat access, so what do you guys need? Do you need an ambulance, or do you need water rescue as well?
They didn't advise right now. I would say at least an ambulance, and I don't know if what they're doing in the back of the property right now. I know we have our rescue swimmer who's getting the boat right now. I would say at least an ambulance. I don't know what the lead time is.
All right, I'll send the ambulance over, and I'll contact the fire chief and see where he wants to go, the duty chief, and see if he wants to drop the boat in there.
I don't know if you have like a better number for me to call you back if we get them out of the water, and I can give you another situation report. They're not passing anything over the radio right now.
Yeah, I can give you that if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll have our gate open, and we'll send the ambulance down to the front of the house. And I'll call you back once I hear about once they give a status report down by the water.
Mm-hmm. And do you know if it's a male or a female? Just
it's a male, 40. 40.
All right, male. All right, I will. I'll start sending everyone out there. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you. Take care.
July 23, 2023, 19:53, 13.
Sheriff's Office communication.
So our rescue swimmers aren't able to locate the gentleman that was reported drowning. So they're out in the water right now. But as of now, they don't know where he is.
Okay, so they're unable to locate the party right now.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have any description of what he was wearing?
Do we know what he was wearing? Give me a second. Stand by. I'll let you know in a second.
Okay.
He was wearing all black. We got a hat and paddleboard.
Yeah, so he's wearing all black. He's on a paddleboard. He's a 40-ish-year-old black gentleman, regular build. And we have our rescue swimmers on a boat in the area right now.
Okay. And they haven't located the paddleboard either.
1 second. Hey, from Command Post. Have you located the paddleboard? Copy. Thank you. All right. So they have the paddleboard and his hat.
Okay, but not him. And do we know if he was wearing a life vest?
I don't think.
Sorry to ask.
Hey, from Command Post. Can you advise if he was wearing a life vest?
Hold on,
He did not. Copy. Thank you. That's a negative. He's not wearing a life vest.
No life vest.
No.
Okay. I have Bravo 2 B2 fire attack. So we have everybody on the way over there now to meet with you guys and gather their resources. I'm going to give the responding fire chief the update on you just so they know exactly.
So,
that's very interesting. Lots of suspicious stuff going on there. I really don't know what to make of it. We do know that Obama lied about being there originally. He was there. They found that out. The Secret Service actually made that phone call, and he you noticed the first of the call, he said that he was watching him drown, and they had, how did they already have swimmers already out? None of it makes sense. It's very, very odd. Everything about it is strange. I just really don't even know what to think about it. I'm going to go check out some more of the speaker race here, just because that's pretty interesting. See how the rest of this played out for a minute. Let's just watch this together. If it's not. Oh my. Oh. There would have never been any hostages if it wasn't for him. Oh, why didn't? Oh, sorry, guys. Hold on. I don't know why it's not. I don't know why that's not working. I don't know why that's not working right. For some reason, it's not presenting it like it's supposed to be. Let me get rid of some stuff here. Give me 1 second. I had not seen that yet. I just wanted to watch some of it with you, fill in some time here. I don't know why it's not working correctly. Give me 1 second. Present. Stop screen. Let's see. Present. Share screen. Yeah, it's still not working. I don't know why. Well, I will go ahead and play the last video that I have for you guys. It's just a, if it'll bring it up, I'm not sure why it's not working correctly. I think it's this one right here.
Come and attack a Christian with this common question: how come this God of yours, who is all love and all powerful, allowing for evil to infiltrate and expand so rapidly on a global level? Where is his all power? Where is his all love to come and save and put an end to this evil? Now, this question that is asked by an atheist attacking a Christian has an element of assumption. So I'll answer the questioner with a question, not an answer. So I'll ask you, my dear friend, when you assume there is evil, aren't you also assuming there is good? Because if they say there is no good, then I'll ask them, how did you know this is evil if you hadn't seen good? How do you know it is dark if you hadn't seen the light? So when you assume there is evil, aren't you also assuming there is good? Well, when you are assuming there is also good, aren't you also assuming there is a moral law? Because if there is no moral law, how did you know this was good?
So that's interesting. Yeah, so why do they think that things are evil if there's no good? If there's no good, how can there be evil? Is everything evil? Does that make any sense? And I figured out why this wasn't working. So we'll go back over here and we'll watch some of this. I know you guys have probably already watched some of this.
Of Israel. Well, that's pretty strong. That's not going to make you very popular with Democrat voters.
Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish and democratic state. The special relationship between the United States and
Let's skip forward. We don't need to hear this.
mainly lose. We fixed that
Today.
There we go.
Finally.
Thank you all. First, a few words of gratitude. I want to thank Leader Jeffries. I do look forward to working with you on behalf of the American people. I know we see things from very different points of view, but I know that in your heart you love and care about this country and you want to do what's right. And so we're going to find common ground there. All right?
Shove that gavel where the sun don't shine. Come on, Big Mike. Let's go.
I want to express my great thanks for our Speaker Emeritus, Kevin McCarthy.
There you go.
Kevin has dedicated over 2 decades of his life to selfless public service, 16 of those years in this House. And you would be hard-pressed to find anybody who loves this institution more or has contributed more to it. He is the reason we're in this majority today. His impact can never be overstated, and I want to thank him for his leadership, his friendship, and the selfless sacrifice that you and Judy have made for so many years. You helped build it, Kevin, and we owe you a great debt of gratitude. I want to thank the dedicated and overworked staff of this beleaguered House.
Class act move. Class act.
They accept praise so stoically. But Miss Susan Cole, our House reading clerk, and yes. Listen, all the clerks and all the staff, you know, they're terribly overworked. This has been a grueling process, but they have served an integral role in keeping our republic, and we thank them for that service. I know we all do. I want to thank my dedicated wife of almost 25 years, Kelly. She's not here. We couldn't get a flight in time. This happened sort of suddenly. But we're going to celebrate soon. She spent the last couple of weeks on her knees in prayer to the Lord, and she's a little worn out. We all are. I want to thank our children, Michael and Hannah and Abby and Jack and Will. All of our children sacrifice. All of them do, and we know that. And there's not a lot of perks to being a member of Congress's kid, right? And so I want to thank all of your families as well for what they endure and what they've had to endure for the last few weeks. We've been here a while. Yeah. I want to thank my faithful mother, Jeannie Johnson, who bore me at the age of 17. And my brothers, Chris and Josh, and my sister, Laura, and all their families, and all of our extended family. In Louisiana, family's a big deal, and we got a bunch of them. I especially want to thank all the extraordinary people of the great state of Louisiana. We have never had a Speaker of the House hail from our state, and so they've been lifting us up. I thank the people of Louisiana for the opportunity to serve you in Congress, and I'm humbled by your continuous support. We will make you proud. To my colleagues, I want to thank you all for the trust that you have instilled in me to lead us in this historic and unprecedented moment that we're in. The challenge before us is great, but the time for action is now, and I will not let you down. I want to say to the American people, on behalf of all of us here, we hear you. We know that I want to say to the American people, on behalf of all of us here, we hear you. We know the challenges you're facing. We know that that there's a lot going on in our country, domestically and abroad, and we are ready to get to work again to solve those problems, and we will. Our mission here is to serve you well, to restore the people's faith in this House, in this great and essential institution. My dad, it was mentioned, my dad was a firefighter. He was an assistant chief of the fire department in my hometown of Shreveport, Louisiana, a little town in northwest Louisiana. On September 17th, 1984, when I was 12 years old, he was critically burned and permanently disabled in the line of duty. All I ever wanted to be when I grew up was the chief of the fire department in Shreveport. But after the explosion on that fateful day, he nearly died, and it was a long road back, and it changed all of our life trajectories. I'm the oldest of 4 kids, and my dad, he lived with pain all the rest of his life for decades more, and I lost my dad to cancer 3 days before I got elected to Congress, 3 days. And he wanted to be there at my election night so badly. I'm the first college graduate in my family. This was a big deal to him. And so several weeks after that, it was early 2017. It was my freshman term, and it fell to me to be in the rostrum one night to serve here as Speaker Pro Tem. I thought that was a big deal until I figured out that's what you do for freshmen late at night. And I think if my memory serves, Miss Jackson Lee was winding down one of her long, eloquent speeches.
That's pretty cool.
Roast him!
I was not enraptured by her speech, but I looked up at the top in the chamber there, and I saw the face of Moses staring down. And
that's awesome.
I just felt in that moment the weight of this place, right? The history that is revered here and the future that we are called to forge. And I really was just kind of almost overwhelmed with emotion. It occurred to me in that moment, it had been several weeks, and I had not had an opportunity yet to grieve my dad's passing, and I just had this sense that somehow he knew. And I had tears come to my eyes, and I was standing here, and I'm wiping them away, and then it suddenly occurs to me, the late night C-SPAN viewers are going to think something's very wrong with the new young congressman from Louisiana. It wasn't Sheila's speech. I'm sorry. I just knew in that moment that my dad, my father would be proud of me, and I felt that he was. And I think all of our parents are proud of what we're called to do here. I think all the American people at one time had great pride in this institution, but right now, that's in jeopardy. And we have a challenge before us right now to rebuild and restore that trust. This is a beautiful country. It's the beauty of America that allows a firefighter's kid like me to come here and serve in this sacred chamber where great men and women have served before all of us and strive together to build and then preserve what Lincoln did refer to as the last best hope of man on earth. We stand at a very dangerous time. I'm stating the obvious. We all know that. The world is in turmoil. But a strong America is good for the entire world.
Good. Good. In God we trust.
We are the beacon of freedom, and we must preserve this grand experiment in self-governance. It still is. We're only 247 years into this grand experiment. We don't know how long it will last, but we do know that the founders told us to take good care of it. I want to tell all my colleagues here what I told the Republicans in that room last night. I don't believe there are any coincidences in a matter like this. I believe that Scripture, the Bible, is very clear. That God is the one that raises up those in authority. He raised up each of you, all of us. And I believe that God has ordained and allowed each one of us to be brought here for this specific moment in this time. This is my belief. I believe that each one of us has a huge responsibility today to use the gifts that God has given us to serve the extraordinary people of this great country, and they deserve it. And to ensure that our republic remains standing as the great beacon of light and hope and freedom in a world that desperately needs it.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
It was in 1962 that our national motto, "In God We Trust," was adorned above this rostrum. And if you look at the little guide that they give tourists and constituents who come and visit the house, and communism, which begins with the premise that there is no God. Simply, these words were placed here as a distinction that is also articulated in our nation's birth certificate. We know the language well, the famous second paragraph that we used to have children memorize in school, and they don't do that so often anymore, but they should. G.K. Chesterton was the famous.
This is the C-SPAN feed, not ours. We apologize.
Philosopher and statesman, and he said one time, America is the only nation in the world that is founded upon. America is the only nation in the world that is founded upon a creed. And he said it's listed with almost theological lucidity in the Declaration of Independence. What is our creed? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, not born equal, created equal.
Based.
They're endowed by the same inalienable rights, with the same inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. That is the creed that has animated our nation since its founding, that has made us the great nation that we are.
Based.
And we're in a time of extraordinary crisis right now. And the world needs us to be strong. They need us to remember our creed and our admonition. Crisis right now. And the world needs us to be strong. They need us to remember our creed and our admonition. Turmoil and violence have rocked the Middle East and Eastern Europe. We all know it. And tensions continue to build in the Indo-Pacific. The country demands strong leadership of this body, and we must not waver. Our nation's greatest ally in the Middle East is under attack. The first bill that I'm going to bring to this floor in just a little while will be in support of our dear friend Israel, and we're overdue in getting that done. We're going to show not only Israel, but the entire world that the barbarism of Hamas that we have all seen play out on our television screens is wretched and wrong, and we're going to stand for the good in that conflict. We have a catastrophe at our southern border. The Senate and the White House can no longer ignore the problem. From Texas to New York, wave after wave of illegal migrants are stressing our communities to their breaking points. We know that our streets are being flooded with fentanyl, and all of our communities, children, and even adults are dying from it. The status quo is unacceptable. Inaction is unacceptable, and we must come together and address the broken border. We have to do it.
Strong. Based.
The skyrocketing cost of living is unsustainable, and Americans should not have to worry about how they're going to feed their family every week because they can't afford their groceries anymore. Everybody in this room should think about this. Here's the stats. Prices have increased over 17% in the last 2 years. Credit card interest rates are at the highest level in nearly 3 decades, and mortgage rates are now at a peak we haven't seen since 2001. We have to bring relief to the American people by reining in federal spending and bringing down inflation. The greatest threat to our national security is our nation's debts. And while we've been sitting in this room, that's right, the debt has crossed almost $33.6 trillion. In the time that it's going to take me to deliver this speech, we'll go up another 20 million in debt. It's unsustainable. We have to get the country back on track. Now, we know this is not going to be an easy task, and tough decisions will have to be made. But the consequences, if we don't act now, are unbearable. We have a duty to the American people to explain this to them so they understand it well. And we are going to establish a bipartisan debt commission to begin working on this crisis immediately.
Based. Yes.
We all know that we also live in a time of bitter partisanship. It was noted, and it's been on display here today, right? When our people are losing their faith in government, when they're losing sight of the principles that made us the greatest nation in the history of the world, I think we got to be mindful of that. We're going to fight. We're going to fight vigorously over our core principles because they're at odds a lot of times now in this modern era. We have to sacrifice sometimes our preferences because that's what's necessary in a legislative body. But we will defend our core principles to the end. In his farewell address, thank you. In his farewell address, President Reagan explained the secret of his rapport with people. And I like to paraphrase his explanation all the time. He said, you know, they call me the great communicator, but I really wasn't that. He said, I was just communicating great things. And they're the same great things that they've got: individual freedom, limited government, the rule of law, peace through strength, fiscal responsibility, free markets, and human dignity. Those are the foundations that made us the extraordinary nation that we are. And you and I today are the stewards of those principles. The things that have made us the freest, most powerful, most successful nation in the history of the world. The things that have made us truly exceptional. In this time of great crisis, it is our duty to work together, as previous generations of great leaders have, to face these great challenges and solve these great problems. I will conclude with this. The job of the Speaker of the House is to serve the whole body, and I will. But I've made a commitment to my colleagues here that this Speaker's office is going to be known for decentralizing the power here.
Yes, King, ready to rock. That is based. Decentralize the power in Washington, D.C. Notice no Democrats clapped.
My office is going to be known for members being more involved and having more influence in our processes and all the major decisions that are made here, for predictable processes and regular order. We owe that to the people. That's right. And I'm going to make this commitment to you, to my colleagues here and on the other side of the aisle as well. My office is going to be known for trust and transparency and accountability, for good stewardship of the people's treasure, for the honesty and integrity that is incumbent upon us, all of us, here in the people's house. Our system of government is not a perfect system. It's got a lot of challenges, but it is still the best one in the world, and we have an opportunity to preserve it.
Hell yeah. Come on, boy. Come on, boy. You even got libs clapping on that one.
Last thing I'm going to say is a message to the rest of the world. They have been watching this drama play out for a few weeks. We've learned a lot of lessons, but you know what? Through adversity, it makes you stronger. And yeah, and we want our allies around the world to know that this body of lawmakers is reporting again to our duty stations. Let the enemies of freedom around the world hear us loud and clear. The People's House is back in business.
Boom. Big Mike Johnson. That's what we're going to call him. Big Mike? No. Big Mike Johnson.
We will do our duty here. We will serve you well. We will govern well, and we'll make you proud in this institution again. We're gonna fight every day to make sure that is true. I look forward to the days ahead. I genuinely believe in my heart that the best days of America are still ahead of us. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Ha ha! Ha ha ha! Gavel! Do the gavel! Do the gavel! Go bam!
Thank you.
Come on, Big Mike!
I'm now ready to take the oath of office, and I ask the Dean of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Harold Rogers of Kentucky, to please administer the oath of office.
I'm going to have to brush up on my parliamentary procedure.
Designee, congratulations on your election.
Thank you, sir.
When our founding fathers chose a bold, new, and innovative new self-rule government,
C-SPAN, ladies and gentlemen, not us. The C-SPAN.
Met by deep skepticism by the world's monarchs. They said self-rule is only a dream. Our founders said they're right. It's the American dream.
Amen.
Now it's our dream. We're in charge. The speakership of the United States House of Representatives is the crucial outpost for the well-being of the people's government, the keeper, if you will, of the dream. Sir, if you wish to, please right hand.
Here we go.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter. So help you God?
I do. So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Chairman.
Come on. There we go. Sworn in, Big Mike Johnson. Got the gavel, got it done. We are so back.
Would y'all like to get right into governing?
Yes. Yes.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Louisiana seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, that is a nice ring to it, by the way.
Steve Scalise.
Mr. Speaker, I offer privilege resolution to notify the Senate of the election of Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House of Representatives and ask for its immediate consideration.
The clerk will report the resolution.
House Resolution 810. Resolved.
People in D.C. still wearing masks.
To inform that body that Mike Johnson, a representative from the state of Louisiana, has been elected Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Without objection, the resolution is agreed to, and the motion to consider is laid on the table. For what purpose does the gentleman from Louisiana seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, to notify President Biden of the election of Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House. I offer a privilege resolution and ask for its immediate consideration.
It's funny because Joe Biden's in a coma and he has dementia,
House
so he can't read.
11. Resolved that the clerk be instructed to inform the President of the United States that the House of Representatives has elected Mike Johnson, a representative from the state of Louisiana, Speaker of the House of Representatives.
We can't hear you with the mask.
Is agreed to, and the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Thank you. All right. The chair would take this occasion to note that the speaker's announced policies with respect to particular aspects of the legislative process placed in the record on January 9, 2023 will continue in effect for the remainder of the 118th Congress. The chair announces that the speaker has delivered to the clerk a letter dated October 25th, 2023, listing members in the order in which each shall act as Speaker pro tempore under Clause 8B3 of Rule 1. The chair lays before the House a communication.
The Honorable, the Speaker, House of Representatives. I hereby designate Representative Steve Scalise to exercise any authority regarding assembly, reassembly, convening, or reconvening of the House pursuant to House Concurrent Resolution 1, Clause 12 of Rule 1, and any concurrent resolution of the concurrent Congress as may contemplate my designation of members to exercise similar authority. In the event of the death or inability of that designee, the alternate members of the House listed in the letter bearing this date that I have placed with the clerk are designated in turn for the same purpose. Signed sincerely, Mike Johnson, Speaker. Clerk, I hereby appoint the Honorable Patrick McHenry, Honorable Adrian Smith, the Honorable Andy Harris, the Honorable Guy Reschenthaler,
All right.
Honorable Rob Whitman, the Honorable Ben Klein, the Honorable Richard Hudson, and the Honorable John Joyce to act as Speaker pro tempore to sign and roll bills and joint resolutions to the remainder of the 118th Congress. Signed sincerely, Mike Johnson, Speaker.
Without objection, the appointments are approved, and the House will be in recess subject. to call a chair pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1. We'll be back soon.
Here we go, baby. The gavel. There you go. Okay. You just got a small gavel. Okay. Here we go. Back at it again. Let's go, baby. We are so back. We are so back. Don't.
All right, guys. So that's going to be about it for today. It's been almost an hour. Thank you guys for jumping in and being a part there. Greatly appreciate it. We'll be back up at 6:30 down at the DC Vigil. You all have a great day. See you later. Freedom Warriors out.